This program contains reenactments of real people and real events. Viewer discretion is advised. A small-town girl falls for a charming older man.
I was attracted to him, and he was nice.
But on their very first date, things aren't what they seem.
I thought maybe this man isn't as together as I thought he was.
And when she calls a friend,
I thought, dear God, please just let her pick up the phone.
she hears what you never want to hear about your date.
I asked, who were you on a date with? And I recognized the name. And I knew that there was potential for him to be very dangerous.
A date gone bad can be deadly.
Oh my God, I'm gonna die tonight.
Elizabethton, Tennessee, a small town in the shadow of the Appalachian Mountains. Connie Williams, a hometown girl working as a nurse, is known to friends as kind and trusting.
I think Connie tried to see the good in everybody.
A recent divorcee, she pulls up to her date's house for what she hopes will be a new beginning.
I was excited. I hadn't dated in a couple months. A lot of nice guys, but not interested in someone with 4 small children. And they weren't established in life. Just no one that really captured my interest and kept it. It was very hard being alone.
The new man in her life? Ronnie Hairston, someone she's very excited to go out with on a first date.
What I'd been thinking all week, there's this established older gentleman, you know, he's said a lot of positive things that could benefit me and my children. I felt lucky that maybe I had found the one.
Connie met Ronnie just 1 week earlier in the very same place when she says she got lost in Ronnie's neighborhood.
I drove by Ronnie's house. So I stopped and asked where the address was that I was looking for. My first impression was, wow, he's an older gentleman. He looks nice. He speaks nice, had a gorgeous smile. And, you know, initially I was attracted to him, and he was nice. He was nice enough to offer me directions.
Connie and Ronnie exchanged numbers and ended up having lunch together. So they had a couple of days of just conversation with one another.
A nurse who takes care of others all day, the single mother relished Ronnie's showering attention.
Ronnie seemed to care about Connie. So it would have been a great day, at least in her mind, that she was going to have an actual first date that would have been meaningful to her.
As Ronnie emerges from his house, only one small detail gives Connie reason for pause.
I thought, why isn't he picking me up for the date and taking me out instead of the other way around? That was my first clue, is to think, well, maybe this man isn't as together as I thought he was.
But Connie sets her reservations aside the minute she sees Ronnie.
Ronnie was a built guy. He was big. He was broad in the shoulders, you know. He just presented himself very nicely.
The night's plan was supposed to be simple.
We were going to drive up to where I live, and I was going to shower and change, and we were going to leave from there and go down to the city.
Connie says Ronnie wants to stop by a liquor store on the way.
My thought there was, okay, we're adults. There's nothing wrong with us having a glass of wine or a drink or something, you know. So I agree.
But when he emerges from the shop, Connie changes her mind.
Most of the drinks that he bought, I wouldn't have drunk, but, you know, my thought on that was, okay, so then I just won't drink. Maybe that's a good thing.
Ronnie begins drinking, and not just drinking, he drinks heavily.
He finished off the bottles within the first 10 minutes of having them.
By the time they reach her home, where Connie will change out of her work clothes, she notices her date can barely walk.
My house is in a small town up at the top of the mountain.
The nearest house is probably, a half a mile of each other.
So I was glad that there weren't people around because they would have said, "What are you doing?" He was at the point where it would have been embarrassing for someone to see me with him.
Connie realizes the situation is getting out of hand, and she does a really good thing.
Hoping to sober up Ronnie and turn her drunken date back into a dream date, Connie starts a pot of strong coffee.
She's seeing almost a complete change in Ronnie from being this charmer, this nice, sweet guy, this teddy bear guy. Now he's turning into the complete opposite.
He was talking about how he noticed that I had certain things in my house, and how he could give me big screen TVs in every room and nice furniture. And I remember saying, well, I don't want all those things. I'm happy with the things that I have.
But the Ronnie she thought she knew is changing, and there's no turning back.
His tone of voice changed to very edgy and uncomfortable.
And little does Connie know, this is just the beginning of the date surprises. Connie Williams thought she'd landed a dream date with a charming guy.
He spoke eloquently, spoke like he had an education, so I was impressed with that.
But after a stop at the liquor store, she says, the man who'd seduced her with a smile and kind-hearted words transforms into an obnoxious drunk.
So he was, definitely different from the Ronnie that I had talked to in the past 5 or 6 days.
I think she was a trusting soul and just didn't think that it could be dangerous.
He was talking very loudly, and he told me to take my clothes off, and I said no.
In an instant, a disappointing date turns horrifically violent.
He's screaming and just kind of manhandling me. He was just touching, like, my breast. I was feeling absolutely terrified. We're talking about 6'4", maybe 250 pounds, very big, very strong, drunk. Felt I was in a position that I had no control over. And he sexually assaulted me on the couch, and I was continuously trying to get him off of me. I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna die tonight.
Ronnie Hairston's attorney denies the sexual assault allegations, but Connie stands by her story.
On the outside, I tried to stay calm after he had raped me.
Though this terrifying ordeal is over for now, Ronnie doesn't want the date to end.
He said he wanted to go to Johnson City and show me to his friends. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Let's go to Johnson City. We'll go to Johnson City and hang out with your friends. On the inside, I was like, oh, hell no. I'm not going anywhere. So I came up with a plan. I put my clothes on.
With Ronnie just outside, Connie quietly calls her friend Kat Grindstaff. And Kat is no ordinary friend. She's a corrections officer at the county jail.
We were pretty close at that time. For a while, we talked almost on a daily basis. Immediately, I knew something was wrong. She's begging me not to hang up the phone. Please don't hang up. Please don't hang up. Keep talking to me. Keep talking to me. So I do.
Suddenly, Ronnie bursts into the room.
He wants to know who she's talking to.
He gets very angry. He hit me again in my arm. He said, "Are you on the phone with the cops?" I said, "No, why would I be on the phone with the cops?" I said, "This is my friend. We're gonna go to her house and party a little bit. Let's just go hang out." So I played it off.
Luckily for Connie, Ronnie buys the whole idea of going to the friend's house and having some fun.
And of course, the whole time I'm saying, you know, what's going on? Who's with you? What's going on?
Kat is stunned by what she hears next.
And I ask who are you on a date with? And she tells me Ronald Hairston. And I recognize the name. I knew Ronnie through the detention system. I knew that there was potential for him to be very dangerous.
Casually, but loud enough for Ronnie to hear, Connie tells Kat they will stop by her house on the way to town. But Connie had something else in a whisper.
She's saying, please don't hang up, please don't hang up.
That's an extremely smart decision because it allows someone else to know where she's at. That's her lifeline.
With one hand on the wheel and the other secretly holding her phone, Connie begins a heart-pounding 12-mile drive down the mountain.
I stayed on the phone with her. All I could hear was he became pretty aggressive.
He's screaming at me. He's throwing his hands up. Very, very angry and aggressive towards me for some reason.
According to Connie, he orders her to turn on the radio, but she makes a painful mistake.
When she refuses, Ronnie punches her in the chest hard.
And hit me so hard it knocked the breath out of me. I was very stunned. I was like, oh my God, did he just hit me? Okay, this is turning even more bad. He hits me, he punches me in my arm a couple times. He reached over and grabbed my breast in a way like as if to try to rip it off of me.
I didn't have any idea what was going on. I just knew that my friend was needing help, and I'm scared, very concerned for her.
At that time, Ronnie sits back in the passenger seat and closes his eyes.
With Ronnie apparently passed out and her cell phone stashed at her side, Connie risks telling her friend she's okay.
The phone went dead.
She loses her lifeline.
We lost connection. In the rural area that we're in, cell phone service is not the best sometimes.
When I lost reception with Kat, I lost, you know, my safe connection to someone who was aware of what was going on.
That was the one lifeline she had, and now she's alone in this car.
Ronnie punched me again, and I kept thinking, if this guy hits me in the head, I'm gonna wreck. We're gonna die.
Enough. But when he wakes,
Ronnie punches her in the chest.
And told me to hurry up and get to the house. While driving down a road with this man who's drunk. He's very aggressive, very angry. He's hitting me. He's raped me. I'm not real sure what he's capable of.
When Ronnie closes his eyes again, Connie seizes the chance to redial her friend. But there's no service. Growing desperate, she dials once more. Again, no connection. But on the third try,
Connie.
her call finally goes through.
I was very relieved that she called back. I was very worried.
There was a slight comfort knowing that there was someone that was aware of the situation. With her background in law enforcement, I was comfortable that she would be the one that would know how to handle the situation.
She just keeps saying, "I'll be there in a minute. I'll be there in a minute." So at that point, I don't know what's going on. And I know that whatever's going on wrong is coming to my house.
And fast. As Kat's house appears from the gloom, Ronnie opens his eyes once more.
I pulled up. I seen her standing with her gun.
She seemed a lifeline. That's all she wanted to do was get to that lifeline and get away from him. And Ronnie's very furious and just totally out of control and trying to keep her inside the car.
But Connie's not about to give up. Not when she's this close.
I slam on my brakes. I take off my seatbelt, throw open the door, and leap from the moving car.
While the car rolls away, Kat rushes to help her friend get inside the house.
Once my feet hit the ground, I felt like I was free, like I was safe away from him. First thing I did when I got in the house, I grabbed Kat by her shoulders. It wasn't until she said, "It's okay," that I took a breath.
From the safety of Kat's living room, the women hear the squealing of tires.
I just looked out the window and the car wasn't there.
Connie's car peels up and leaves, and this man's in her car.
He was driving at a very high rate of speed, obviously trying to get away because he probably knew that she was calling 911.
As he leaves in her car, I'm thinking, number one, yay, he's gone, and oh no, he stole your car.
While Connie regains her composure, Kat dials 911.
911 dispatcher dispatches one of my deputies who ultimately responds.
We found out that the female subject had ran into a friend's house because the male subject had assaulted her and that he had left in the vehicle at a high rate of speed. And of course, we had a description of the vehicle.
Before Connie can finish giving her statement, the officer receives an urgent call.
I wanted Ronnie caught. I wanted to go home that evening and every day after that and feel safe again, knowing that he was behind bars.
For now, all that will have to wait as the officer responds to another emergency.
In small jurisdictions like this one, there's rarely enough police officers to go around. And in this case, one officer had to respond to multiple calls dropping.
The policeman promised he would return as soon as he could.
But will it be soon enough?
Not only is Ronnie still on the loose, but he's violent and dangerous. Now that it was quiet, I was able to start processing what had happened, and it was very scary to me.
And at any moment, her date might come back for something more than a goodnight kiss. After a 5-hour date that saw budding romance turn into alleged assault and carjacking, Connie Williams at last reaches the home of friend Kat Grindstaff. But is this ordeal really over? After all, violent ex-con and alleged rapist Ronnie Hairston is still out there.
I think we're all in shock. Connie was concerned that Ronnie would come back.
While they wait for the police to return from another emergency call, Kat prepares for the worst. and Connie begins to unravel.
Connie worries. Where will he turn up again? What will he do to me?
Meanwhile, Kat scolds her friend for being too trusting.
She said, if you would have just told me his name, I would have told you don't have anything to do with him. And I said, well, when have I ever ran a boyfriend through you miles down the road from where Kat lived?
A sedan had been traveling at a high rate of speed. And crashed.
They told us that the driver was Ronnie Hairston and that it was my car that he had taken.
Ronnie wasn't injured very bad at all, but he was too intoxicated to crawl out that door.
Mr. Hairston was taken to the hospital to check on his injuries and then taken on to jail. Good news is it's over.
Ronnie Hairston is charged with assault, theft, driving under the influence, and driving on a suspended license.
Ronnie was actually on parole at the time that this incident occurred, so he violated his parole because of these charges and because of this incident that night.
I felt like losing my car and it being wrecked was a small price to pay, and knowing that the man that hurt me that night was going to be arrested.
This could have been a lot worse for Connie. He could have killed her.
The assault charges against Ronnie Hairston, which he denies, are later dropped. But 2 years later, a happily remarried Connie is left to wonder, is her diabolical date truly over? Ronnie Hairston has been released on bail, awaiting trial, and he still walks the streets of Elizabethton.
I'm still very afraid that Ronnie will find me. I feel like that evening he had something set out to do and he didn't complete it, and I am very scared.
Because in her nightmares, Ronnie will come knocking. All suspects appearing in this episode are presumed innocent until proven guilty.